Alright folks, welcome to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, where I use Gematria, which is the practice of taking each letter in an alphabet and giving it a numerical value. And I use the 4 base ciphers. And for those of you new here, please go check out GematriaEffectNews.com and kind of get a refresher, because he's really done all the teaching. And I don't have time in every one of my videos to do the teaching, but I've had a lot of questions from newbies to this channel about how to learn more. And maybe I'll start doing some actual more beginner videos, but right now my decodes are more complex only because I'm decoding actual events and weaving everything together. So with that out of the way, let me weave all these events together. And again, in this video, I'm going to tie everything to January 13th, which is a Friday the 13th, and it's coming up in 7 days. And so let me weave all these events together. And what I've been talking about on that day is some sort of aerial incident, a plane crash, okay? And possibly for the president, but I don't know for sure. All I'm saying is somewhere in this vicinity, I'm seeing a lot of something is going to crash. I don't know if it's the economy, if it's a plane, if it's whatever it's going to be. There's a lot of symbolism. And I want to make a very good case for Biden in a plane crash. But the first event that's happening today that I want to mention is the wolf moon that's happening tonight, which is the full moon. And I'm going to show you how that ties in with exactly what's happening exactly a week from now on Friday the 13th. Okay, so remember the wolf moon. The other thing that I already mentioned in my last video is that on Friday the 13th, there's a movie being released called Plane. And I found out this after I had this theory, but now there's a movie being released on that day called Plane. And it's about a plane crash from a lightning strike, okay? And then we had this event that happened on the 2nd where Damar Hamlin got knocked out and he had his heart stopped, and everyone's probably watched my video about that, or has at least heard about this. So I'm going to tie all these events that are happening so far this year together and how it's pointing to Friday the 13th. So the biggest thing here to think about, guys, is that Kobe Bryant was the last really famous person to go down in an accident like that, all right? And what's interesting, guys, is that I just told you there's a movie called Plane, and it's starring Gerard Butler. And Gerard Butler is not only playing in this movie called Plane, but he was in a 2019 movie called Angel Has Fallen. Get it? Like something falling out of the sky. But guess when this movie was released, guys? It was released on Kobe Bryant's last birthday. Now, Kobe Bryant was an angel who fell. And what I mean by that is he played for the Los Angeles Angels. No, he didn't play for the Angels. He played for the Los Angeles Lakers. But Los Angeles is the city of angels. And he fell out of the sky in a helicopter crash, okay, on January 26, 2020. This movie, Angel Has Fallen, was released on his birthday. So this was predictive programming for his accident. But I think that this movie, Angel Has Fallen, was also predictive programming for Biden's accident. So with that being said, I want you guys to notice the deep connection that the 113 has with all these incidents, okay? And I want you to notice, first of all, that Kobe Bryant equals 113 and 41. Okay, so 113 is like the date, January 13th, and 41 is the 13th prime number. So 41 also has a 13 connection because it's the 13th prime. Also, I just told you that exactly a week before Friday the 13th, we're having a wolf moon, which is a direct match to Kobe Bryant with the 113, again, January 13th. Now, Kobe Bryant played for Los Angeles. If you type out Los Angeles CA, the abbreviation, it equals 113 and 41, just like Kobe Bryant. All right? So, anyways, this wolf moon that's exactly a week before, guys, of course it's going to have the 113 and 41. Okay? So let's talk about Damar Hamlin for a minute and how this is tied to the Plane movie. Remember the Plane movie that's coming out January 13th? It's starring Gerard Butler, and he plays in that movie, he plays a character called Brody Torrance, as you can see I highlighted. And if you take Damar Hamlin's first and middle name, Damar Romiel, it equals 147. This is a direct match to the pilot that Gerard Butler plays in the movie named Brody Torrance, equals 147. Now the movie itself, guys, is an hour and 47 minutes long. Okay? And now here's the real kicker, is that Damar Hamlin was knocked out by number 85, and he wore number 3. So that number is 853. And 853 is the 147th prime. So I hope you guys got that. The movie that's coming out 11 days after this incident with Damar Hamlin has a character in the movie that matches his name with 147. The movie is 147 long. And if you combine the player that hit him with his number, 853 is the 147th prime. It's all about the 147 in this slide. Just look it up, guys. I don't have it here. I apologize for that. But 853 is the 147th prime. Just like 85 hit 3. Okay? Now, another big event that happened in the last couple of years that had a tie with the 113, just like January 13th is 113, was March 11th, 2020. This wasn't long after Kobe Bryant died. And that's when Trump declared, the pandemic. And from March 11th, again, March 11th and January 13th, both have the 113. From March 11th, 2020 to January 13th, 2023 is 1,038 days. And if you type out the words 113, it equals 1,038. Okay? And I'm saying that a plane crash is what I'm expecting on this day, and there's a movie coming out on that very day about a plane crash. Okay? And plane crash equals 1,038, just like it's 1,038 days from 113 to 113. March 11th to June 13th, or January 13th. So, not only that, from Kobe Bryant's death, which was not long before the pandemic declaration, it's 1083, which is the anagram or the mix-up of the 1038. Okay, from the pandemic. So this number is just shuffled from his death to January 13th and from the pandemic to January 13th. Okay, I already showed in previous slides how Damar Hamlin has a direct match in 2 ciphers to vaccine. Okay, and Hamlin equals 666. Okay, like vaccination equals 666. And again, Kobe Bryant died not too long before the pandemic and all this stuff happened. So it's just all tied together, guys. But let's talk more about Kobe Bryant, because in 2017 he released a movie about his career called Dear Basketball. And of course, the name of his movie is a direct match to his name, Kobe Bryant, 113 and 41, and his city he played for, Los Angeles, CA. Not only that, guys, but the movie Dear Basketball was released on the 113th day of the year, and of course his name and the name of the movie both equal 113, like the day of the year. Okay, April 23rd, 2017 was when it was released. That's the 113 day of the year. Kobe Bryant 113, Dear Basketball 113. And Kobe Bryant was from Philadelphia. And Joe Biden is from Pennsylvania. Well, Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania. Damar Hamlin, who got knocked out of the game, was from Pennsylvania. We just had that killer who had killings in Idaho was captured in Biden's hometown in Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia Phillies were in the World Series. They're from Pennsylvania. Okay, there's a lot more Pennsylvanias I could even tell you. But, I mean, that's just to give you an idea of how important this state is this year. But what I want you to know is that Kobe Bryant was from Pennsylvania, where Biden's from, and his dad's name was Joe Bryant. JB, like Joe Biden. As a matter of fact, if you say Joe Bryant, It almost sounds like you could say Joe Biden. It's very close. I'm not saying it's close that you could mix it up, but I'm just saying that they have literally the same initials, JB. Okay? And I don't believe this is a coincidence because, if you notice, if you type in Kobe Bryant's dad's name, Joe Bryant is a direct match in 3 ciphers to president, which is what Joe Biden is. And again, Joe Biden and Joe Bryant, very similar. And again, from the same area, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. So, and right there, guys, you can see that Kobe Bryant was the 13th pick. Of course he was, because his name equals 41. That's the 13th prime. His name also equals 113. Okay? He played for LA, which equals 13. I mean, it's just all kinds of 13s, guys. So, Kobe Bryant scored 81 points, which is the second most all time. He scored those points on January 22nd, 2006. The reason that's important this year, guys, is because the year of the rabbit starts on January 22nd, which is the same day in history that Kobe Bryant scored his 81 points. And he scored that 81 points not far from Buffalo, where this whole Buffalo incident happened recently. He scored 81 points in Toronto, which is right across the river, or right across the water. And now I want to talk about these 147s again. I just showed you back there with the Damar Hamlin. But so Kobe Bryant died in Calabasas, California, which equals 147. I told you that the main character in the Plane movie, played by Gerard Butler, his name is Brody Torrance, which equals 147. Damar Romiel, which is Damar's first and middle name, equals 147. And then the national championship game that's taking place between TCU versus Georgia on January 9th, just a few days before January 13th, TCU versus Georgia equals 147. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that in there because, again, all these events are tied together, even the national championship that's coming up on the 9th. Now, let's talk about the day the music died, okay? Because this is another airplane crash, just like Kobe Bryant's was a huge thing. This is probably one of the most famous ones. And this is a crash that happened in 1959. February 3rd, 1959. It was a plane crash that killed musicians Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper, J.P. Richardson. Okay? And the song was written about this called, you probably know this song, it's called American Pie, and it's by Don McLean. Now, Don McLean wrote this song about this airplane crash, and I'm going to tie all this stuff together, okay? So just give me a minute here. So, from the day of that airplane crash that killed those 3 musicians to the Buffalo incident with Damar Hamlin is 63 years and 333 days. The reason that is important, guys, is because Buffalo equals 63. So it happens 63. So this incident happens 63 years after the plane crash, and it happens in Buffalo, and Buffalo equals 63. Not only that, guys, but it's happened 63 years and 333 days. And remember, Damar Hamlin wore the number 3. And the one picture that we always see was of number 33 standing over 3, and he was the only one not kneeling. So this happened 63 years and 333 days after the plane crash. Buffalo 63, and the amount of 3s in this ritual, and it's just not a coincidence that it's 333 days. Okay? Now, if that wasn't enough to prove to you the connection to this, I want you guys to notice the connection here. Damar Hamlin is a direct match in 3 ciphers to American Pie, which is the song that Don McLean wrote about this plane crash. Okay? Also, the famous phrase and line in the song is the day the music died. Notice that the Buffalo Bills is a direct match in 3 ciphers to Day the Music Died. So Damar Hamlin matches the title of the song, and the most famous lyric in the song, Day the Music Died, is a direct match to the Buffalo Bills. Okay? So what I'm saying here, guys, is if they're planning on a plane crash coming up soon for Biden, they're already giving us connections with this Damar Hamlin. Because what Damar Hamlin do? He collapsed like a plane would collapse out of the sky, okay? So that's why I'm saying that this is all tied together with this incident and its predictive programming. So, also I wanted to mention that Don McLean and American Pie, which is the name of the writer and the song combined, equals 113, just like Biden's hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay? Now, let's talk about January 13th and how this all ties together. So on January 13th, Biden will be meeting Prime Minister of Japan, Fumio Kishida, at the White House. That's on January 13th, the same day the Plane movie comes out. These guys, these two leaders, Fumio Kishida, Japanese Prime Minister, and President Joe Biden of the United States, will be meeting on January 13th to talk about North Korea. Okay? North Korea. And I'm going to show you how this is all perfectly selected for that day. So here it is, guys. I told you that on January 13th, Joseph R. Biden, which equals 125, is meeting the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, which equals 125. They're meeting to talk about North Korea, which equals 125. And there's a movie coming out that day about an airplane crash, equals 125. And Don McLean III, who's the most famous person to write a song about an airplane crash, equals 125. Okay? Do you guys see what I'm telling you? So hopefully that made sense. To me, I've been looking at all these things tied together, so it's easier for me to see how these things are all woven together, because there's a lot of stuff I had to leave out of this because it would be too long of a decode. But what I'm saying, guys, is that it's all tied together. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care out there. Much peace, much love. I'll see you in the next one.